Your intuition has always been your superpower, especially if you're a highly sensitive person. You just feel things. You walk into a room and sense the energy. You pick up on unspoken emotions. You feel every subtle shift in your own body. But when you're living with chronic illness, that intuition becomes a critical guide, your internal compass for navigating the storms of pain, fatigue, and uncertainty. It's that gut feeling that tells you that something is wrong, long before any medical test can prove it. But what happens when the very people you're supposed to trust, your doctors, your family, your partner, start to dismantle that compass? What happens when they convince you that superpower is actually a flaw? That's gaslighting. It's a sneaky form of manipulation when someone makes you question your own reality. It can turn your greatest strength against you, leaving you feeling confused, lost, and completely alone. If you have ever been told that your symptoms are all in your head, that you're just stressed, or that you're simply being too sensitive, this is for you. If we haven't met yet, my name is Rosberries. I am an artist, healer, and spiritual teacher. And today we're going to expose this insidious form of emotional abuse. We'll break down the 3 most common signs of gaslighting that every person with a chronic illness needs to know. And more importantly, we're going to talk about 3 real ways you can protect your energy, rebuild that inner compass, and reclaim your truth. Before we get into the signs, let's get clear on what gaslighting really is. The term comes from a 1944 movie, Gaslight, where a husband messes with the gaslights in their home, making them dim, and denies it's happening to make his wife think she's going crazy. In the same way, modern gaslighting is a pattern where someone in a position of power invalidates your perception of reality to stay in control. For those of us with chronic illness, this often shows up as medical gaslighting, when a doctor or nurse dismisses your symptoms without a proper medical workup. Maybe they cut you off while you're talking, refuse to order tests, or blame all of your physical pain on psychological issues without even looking into it. And if you identify as an empath, you can feel especially vulnerable here. Your ability to feel for others and your deep desire for harmony can be used against you. You might sense a doctor being dismissive or a loved one isn't being truthful. Because you have an open heart, you question yourself first. You think, maybe I am overthinking this. Maybe I am too sensitive. That's the trap. Over time, this erodes your self-trust, and that can feel more debilitating than the illness itself. It leads to delayed diagnoses, poor treatment, and a deep, crushing sense of isolation. So let's get into the first sign so you can start spotting this pattern and protecting yourself from it. The first most common sign of gaslighting is when your physical symptoms are flat out dismissed or minimized. This is the classic "it's all in your head" treatment. It sounds like a doctor cutting you off as you describe your crippling fatigue, to have them only say, "everyone gets tired, you're probably just not sleeping enough." It's a family member who watches you wince in pain and says, "stop exaggerating, it can't possibly be that bad." Or the all-time favorite, "maybe you're just stressed." Yeah, no shit, I'm stressed from trying to get you guys to take me seriously." These phrases are meant to make your experience seem small. It's not real, just a product of your mind, not your body. A particular cruel version of this is when your feelings are trivialized. You try to explain how depressing and lonely your condition feels, only to be told you're being too sensitive or you need to be more positive. This tactic is so damaging because it attacks the core of who you are as an emotional person. It makes your natural way of being feel like a character flaw. Constant invalidation creates a thick fog of confusion. You start to second guess your own body. You wonder, am I really in this much pain or am I just weak? Is this fatigue real or am I just being lazy? This self-doubt is exactly what the gaslighter wants. When you don't trust your own perception, you become easier to manage, easier to dismiss, easier to control. The impact is devastating, leading to more suffering and a total mistrust of your inner voice. The second major sign is when your physical symptoms are always blamed on psychological causes without any real investigation. This is when a doctor, maybe say after a 5-minute chat without running a single test, decides your joint pain or brain fog are just anxiety. It's when they look at a decade of your physical symptoms and suggest a psychiatrist instead of a specialist. It's when they refuse to see the body and mind is connected and instead use your mental health as a convenient scapegoat for anything they don't immediately understand. Friends and family can do this too. you. They might say things like, if you just dealt with your childhood trauma, I bet all of this would clear up, or, oh my God, you're focusing on it too much. While stress and mental health absolutely affect our physical health, in a gaslighting situation, these are used as excuses to shut down the conversation. It's an easy way to close the case on your complex health problems without doing the hard work of actually listening. For anyone with a chronic illness, this can make you feel like you're losing your mind. Your intuition is screaming that something is physically wrong. You feel it in your bones, you feel it in your gut, you feel it in your nerves. But an authority figure is telling you the problem is all in your head. This creates massive internal conflict between what you know to be true and the reality they're pushing on you. You start to feel crazy, like you're making it all up, even when you're looking at a persistent rash on your own skin, or you can barely get out of bed in the morning. This isn't just bad medicine, it's a form of psychological manipulation. The third sign is a constant refusal to take action or investigate your concerns. This is where the dismissal becomes actual neglect. This would look like a doctor who refuses to order tests, even when your symptoms obviously call for them. They might brush off abnormal lab results you point out, or refuse to give you a referral, basically saying your concerns aren't legitimate enough to explore. They might keep saying, let's just wait and see, for months, even years, while your health gets worse. This inaction sends a clear message. Your suffering isn't worth their time or effort. With loved ones, this wall can be a little more subtle. It might be a partner who always changes the subject when you bring up your health, or maybe a friend who stops inviting you out because they've decided your illness is too much emotional labor. They might nod along as you talk, but then do absolutely nothing to show they believe you or want to help. This leaves you feeling powerless and desperate. You're trapped in a body that's crying for help, and the people who should be helping have put up a wall. It forces you to become your own medical detective, spending hours on Google, because the people paid to figure it out just won't. This isn't about being a hypochondriac. It's about survival. Stories are tragically common of patients whose concerns were dismissed as drama or anxiety, only to have a life-threatening condition to be discovered. You end up learning the hard way if you don't fight for your own health, because nobody else will. This is the final blow of medical gaslighting. It makes you feel like you are completely alone in this fight. Recognizing these signs is the first, most important step, but just knowing isn't enough. It can leave you feeling hopeless. I know, because I've lived it. I spent 20 years with chronic fatigue and obesity, being dismissed by doctors and told I was over-exaggerating or just lazy. That lack of validation made me so desperate that I had to trust alternative routes of medicine, paying out of pocket for answers when no one else would listen. I went bankrupt trying to find a solution, but it was that relentless fight that finally led me to a physician who was actually willing to take me seriously. Your experience is real, your pain is valid, and your intuition is not broken. It's time to stop questioning yourself and start building your defenses. Here are 3 powerful ways to fight back against gaslighting. The best defense against someone questioning your reality is to have proof. Start with a detailed symptom journal. Write down everything: the time, symptom, its intensity on a scale from 1 to 10, and how it affected your day. This isn't just for you, it's your book of evidence. When you walk into a doctor's office with an organized folder of data, it's a lot harder for them to say it's all in your head. You're no longer talking about a vague memory that they can dismiss. You're presenting cold, hard facts. Pair this with assertive communication. It doesn't mean being aggressive, it just means being clear and firm. Practice a few key phrases at home so they feel natural. Could you please note in my chart that I'm concerned about this specific symptom? Or what is your clinical reasoning for not ordering that test? Or simply, I'm not comfortable with a wait and see approach. What options are available to me now? Having these questions ready can help you stay calm and centered when you feel yourself being dismissed. Never underestimate the power of a witness. Gaslighters do their best work one-on-one, where they can control the narrative. Bringing a trusted friend, partner, or family member to your appointments can completely change the dynamic. Your ally does a few key things here. First, their presence can make a provider think twice before being dismissive. Second, they can be your second set of ears, taking notes while you focus on explaining what's going on, which is a lifesaver if you are struggling with brain fog. Most importantly, they are there to validate your experience right after it happens. They can turn to you afterwards and say, "No, you are not being too sensitive. That doctor was completely out of line." That confirmation is a powerful antidote to the self-doubt gaslighting creates. Cannot do this alone. Gaslighting is designed to make you feel isolated. So the most rebellious thing you can do is find your people. Look for online support groups or advocacy organizations for your specific condition. Connecting with people who have the same experience is incredibly validating. Suddenly, you're not the only one. You hear your own story in their voices, and you'll realize the problem isn't you, it's the system. I cannot emphasize this enough. Consider finding a therapist, especially one who gets chronic illness. They can help you work through the trauma of being gaslit and build the self-trust that's been worn away. And finally, lean into whatever makes you feel grounded and centered, whether that's meditation, Reiki, journaling, or just spending time in nature. These practices can help you tune out the noise of other people's opinions and reconnect you with the undeniable truth of your inner knowing. Living in chronic illness as a sensitive person is a huge challenge. Your intuition is your guide, your body is your teacher, and your spirit is strong. Don't let anyone, regardless of their job title or how much you love them, make you doubt the truth of what you experience every day. Their dismissal of your pain is not a reflection of your reality, it's a reflection of their own limiting beliefs. Remember the 3 signs: the dismissal of your symptoms, the psychological scapegoat, and the wall of inaction. And remember your power. You can document your symptoms, bring an ally, and build a community. You have the right to be heard, believed, and treated with compassion. If this resonated with you, please do these 3 things. First, hit the like button so this message can find more people who need to hear it. Second, subscribe for more content on navigating life with a chronic illness. And third, and this is the most important one, share your story in the comments. Have you experienced medical gaslighting? What helped you fight back? Your story could be the one thing that someone else desperately needs to read today. If you're looking for a deeper level of healing, I invite you to join my Patreon. There, I share exclusive resources and meditations to help empaths ground their energy, clear the fog of manipulation, and reconnect with their own wisdom. The link for that is in the description. Thank you for being here. Trust yourself. You know your body better than anyone. And until I see you at the next one, I'm wishing you peace, love, and all the berries.